Women in Print Alliance is dedicated to connecting, empowering, and advancing women in the printing industry. As part of Printing United Alliance, we're fostering a more inclusive future through advocacy, education, and networking opportunities that connect women across the entire industry. Join us as an individual to grow your career, expand your network, and access exclusive resources, or enroll your entire organization to show your commitment to supporting women in print. Become a member today at womeninprintalliance.org and help us shape the future of print.
Welcome to Her Imprint, part of the Impressions Exchange. I'm Denise Gustafson, your host. This podcast celebrates the remarkable women who are transforming the printing industry. We'll explore their journeys, from challenges to triumphs, and share the stories that leave a lasting imprint. So today I have with me Emily Niswander. She's owner of TimberTech Printing. So Emily, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much for being with me on this very, very cold day. Hopefully you're not buried in snow because you are up in Michigan.
And soon to be probably frozen Great Lakes.
It's very pretty, I do find.
Yes, it is definitely pretty this time of year, especially when we get the snowfall. That's kind of like the snow globe effect where slow, big flakes. Yeah.
Really probably the best snowflakes ever.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you end up in printing? And actually, before we even get into that, tell us a little bit about TimberTech Printing.
TimberTech is a commercial printer based out of Harbor Springs, Michigan. We've been in business since 1985, I believe, but I took over in August of 2022 from the previous owner. We are a trade-only printer. We run both offset and digital and do all our bindery work in-house. We're kind of a smaller shop, but we do a lot for our size and our staff.
Very cool. So now you said that you started with the company in 2022, correct?
Correct, yes.
So how did you get there? And I'm sure there's a story.
Yeah, it's quite a journey. I have always declared myself a print and paper dork. I've always loved it. Since I was little, I used to make my own greeting cards.
Isn't that a normal thing to do?
I don't know.
I think it is.
I mean, I really thought like at 12 that I was going to I was going to outsell Hallmark, I don't know what I was thinking. And then when I got to high school, I was in the yearbook class where we designed the yearbook and printed it. And that was kind of my first introduction into that world. We had an advertising agency came to talk to us when we were in that class, and they brought printed samples and all this cool stuff that they had done. And I was like, well, maybe, because I've always been creative and painted and did art. So I thought, well, maybe there is a career somehow in there for me to do creative stuff and actually make money. I did end up going down the path of graphic design for college. And my first job out of college was at a Sir Speedy print shop. And so that was kind of my first introduction into the printing world. I did pre-press there and all the design work. Kind of got my feet wet and learned how that industry worked. And then after that, I kind of more focused on the design side, but I've always been a print designer. So it was kind of nice to have that background once I jumped into the print world, knowing how something is designed and then knowing what it's supposed to look like when it prints, like how signatures work and so much that goes into that.
Huge part that I think
it is a huge part of it.
And I think that's sometimes missing from some of the education, because I've spoken with some other women who were on the graphic design side. And that's the one thing they said. They said, we never learned how to actually design for print.
Exactly. It's very true. In fact, there's even because I, have done design for 25 years. And there's a part of me that would love to be able to share that knowledge. I'd love to be able to work with the fresh out of college kids or the ones that are in it and just teach them the things that they need to know to design for print so that you don't get the low resolution or the missing links or the no bleeds or what is a bleed? I don't understand.
The wrong color space.
Yes, exactly. Just to have, share that knowledge because it's so valuable. I think it's kind of crazy if I haven't really been around the classes they teach now. So obviously it sounds like that's still a problem in the industry. Okay.
Yeah, it's
But
one of those things that I've heard from a couple of graphic designers that I've chatted
mhm,
with,
yeah.
and they had to learn all of it on the job, how to do the
Mhm.
bleeds, what the signatures are, how to do all the things that print folk take for granted.
Exactly. Even using the right program. I mean,
Mhm.
I get things set up in Photoshop that shouldn't be, or things set up in Illustrator that should be in InDesign.
Or they send you a Word document.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Also true. So I think having that background for me has been super helpful transitioning into owning and running the print shop. Also comes in handy on the marketing side, obviously, designing
Obviously.
everything for the print shop myself.
So how did you make that jump from working as a graphic designer into, I'm going to be an owner of a commercial print shop? That
It
seems
was
like a little bit of a jump, but
huge jump. It was a huge decision and a huge life change because at the time, I mean, I had a big chunk of my graphic design time was in the corporate world. I got to the point where I wasn't happy doing that. I decided I had enough freelance clients where I'm like, I'm just going to own my own freelance design business. And I did that, and I did it for a couple years, and it was great. And then my dad came to visit me in Florida and mentioned one of his buddies owns a print shop in Northern Michigan, and he wants to retire. Was looking for someone to take over for him, and I don't know, maybe it was just that moment in time where I was like, "Oh, really? Tell me more." But it was a good 2 years in the making before it actually happened. There was a lot of me traveling back and forth and touring the shop and learning if it was a good move for me, and combining that with some personal reasons of wanting to move home, it ended up becoming a reality.
so you were outside of Michigan when you got this.
Yeah, I was in Florida still.
You were in Florida
So
still.
I literally moved across the United States to run a print shop.
Not everybody can say they do that.
Yeah, right?
I will tell you that.
Yeah,
So
it was a lot.
what made you do that move? What was right about it at that time?
Well, I mean, obviously, like I said, there were personal reasons. I wanted to be closer to family. My mom wasn't doing great health wise. But on top of that, I think I just wanted something different, but it was different, but it also felt comfortable because of my background. And granted, hindsight, there were a lot of things that I didn't know how to do that I was like, that's easy. I can figure that out, you know?
Mhm.
And yeah, the reality of the situation was it was really hard and it still is hard every day. But yeah, it, I think it was just all the stars aligned at that time. It was the right time for me to make a move.
So was it the right move?
I think that you could ask me that at 3 different times in 1 month and I would answer differently.
Is there a general consensus?
I think that yes, I think it's a good move. It's completely changed my life. I know that sounds a little dramatic, but it really has changed my life. I'm responsible for right now we have 8 employees. I moved across the country. I moved my fiance, I moved my dogs. We are building a house. I mean, it's just everything is so different, but I think it was the right move. I hope that people listening to this that maybe are contemplating making big life decisions or changes, maybe this would inspire them to make that leap. Of course, it's scary, but good things can come out of it.
Change is not always bad.
No, it's not. It's hard to convince other people that taking over from the previous owner with the employees that have been here, convincing them of the changes that I think we should make here in this print shop has been challenging because they're used to doing things the way that it's always been done. So yes, change in that aspect can be hard and a little scary, but we have invested in new machinery and change processes and things that I think are for the best. So sometimes embracing change is a good thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's a new ball game for you.
Hmm.
Success to you probably looks very different than it did 5 years ago.
Yeah.
5 years ago, you were probably what, freelancing at that point?
Yeah, I was. Yeah, so success to me then was having enough design work to fill a day or landing a new client or whatever design project that I finished and wrapped up and it was like, yay, this project's done. But now it's, yeah, completely different. It's what our sales are looking like. I wear so many hats here with doing, the hiring and all the bookkeeping and ordering of parts. For me, it's changed a lot.
Parts, supplies, all
Mhm.
the things to make sure that everything
Yeah.
stays running.
Yeah. Understanding inventory and ordering paper and estimating. Yeah. All the things that I didn't know that I know now.
Did you ever think that this was the bad idea?
Yeah.
What made you
I
stay?
might as well be honest, right?
Yeah.
There's days where I'm like, yeah, this is too hard. This is hard. I need help. And I think that has been key, is admitting to myself that it's okay to ask for help, because I was in over my head. Not afraid to admit that, but there are people out there that are allies and can help you and give you information. And it's not, even competitors will share knowledge with you, because you don't know what you don't know. So if you don't ask, no one's going to share with you.
Most women probably wouldn't admit that. And it's interesting. All the women that I talk with, asking for help or asking sometimes is one of the hardest things to do.
Hmm.
And I still haven't come to the why. Why is it so hard for us as women to
Yeah.
ask for that help?
Hmm. I think we just want to be able to do it ourselves. At least that's how I am. I'm a
Yeah.
very independent person. I always have been. So I think, admitting that you can't figure it out, or maybe things didn't go the way you planned, and asking for help. We've been kind of told it's a sign of weakness, but I don't think it is. I mean, maybe I did. And that's why it was so hard to do from the get-go. But now that I have done it and I do have people standing behind me and sharing information with me, I was like, well, you shouldn't. Yeah, this is not a sign of weakness. This is being a smart business move. Like,
Mm,
why would you not get that knowledge from people who have been through this or have been running business for, 15 years longer than I have? They obviously have been through everything. So I can learn from that.
yeah. It's funny. My mom always used to tell me that when I was a kid, I'd go around saying, I can do this myself. And that's very
Right.
much still
Mhm.
some of my personality. I still have that. No, I don't. I can do it. I can do it. I can do it.
Mhm.
How do we find those people that we can trust, that we can lean on? Is it through mentorship? Is it through networking? How do we find those people that we can open up to
Yeah.
trust, to help us in those moments?
Well, I went two different paths. I started with the people closest to me, who then would recommend somebody that they knew. So it was that kind of relationship. But the other thing that was recommended to me was the SCORE program, which is a government program. I think it's through most people's Chamber of Commerce, but they will pair you with a retired CEO or a retired person in the industries that will be your mentor, and they're available, and you could talk to them and ask them questions, and they will help you learn how to better run your business. And so I think utilizing stuff like that is invaluable. There's just so much knowledge out there, and they have webinars, and I mean, there's just a lot of stuff available doesn't cost you anything to get all that knowledge from them.
That's really cool. I had never actually heard of the SCORE program. So through Chamber of Commerce, it's something that's
Yeah, you
available.
can just Google it, actually. I do think it's a government thing, but that's the chamber is how I learned about it up here, was just through word of mouth from other people. But yeah, it's great because started with a lady who was recommended to me, but then she was in a different industry than printing. But then with her network, she was able to connect me with someone who was in the printing industry. So to even have it that tailored to what you're looking for is great.
It's even better. I mean, obviously, with certain positions or certain business functions, industry doesn't matter as much.
Yeah, exactly.
Then when you're starting to get down into certain very industry specific things that
Yeah.
you're challenged with, then it always helps to have somebody that's been there, done that,
Yeah.
and they can
Well,
actually talk about it.
yeah. Well, and I find the printing industry is so unique with the way that we have to track inventory, and how you're not selling the same item over and over again. I
Mm.
mean, you are, but you aren't. So it's not as easy to budget and to do all the things that other businesses can do. Because you're like, well, I need to sell 15 cars this month because that will give me this. But we could do 15 orders and it will equal X amount of money. And then the next month, 15 orders is double that or half that, because we don't know exactly what we're going to be printing.
Now, you've obviously had the mentorship side of it. How has it been for you in terms of like even just professional development and training? Obviously, you had your training through college, design, working at the Star Speedy, working in corporate.
Yeah.
For this, it's different from what you were doing. I mean, you did a little bit of a little career shift at that point.
Yeah, it's completely different. I feel it's also different being at the top because I've always been an employee somewhere where you have a boss or a manager who's constantly giving you feedback, who is telling you if you're doing a good job. And I don't get that anymore, it's challenging for me because I sometimes need that feedback. And so that's been a shift for me. I have to manage myself basically, which is new, but professional development is something I would say has been on the back burner for me because I've been so focused on learning how to run this business. I mean, obviously going to trade shows and doing the Printing United stuff. But other than that, I'm all ears if someone else has some suggestions for me on how to continue that stuff. I mean, obviously I could take classes but I haven't had time for that.
You're still heads down.
Yeah. Yeah. For the most part. Yep. I mean, I am a firm believer in being able to do a lot of the stuff here. So, I mean, my day to day is so different. It's some days I'm sitting at my desk all day doing paperwork. Some days I'm out shrink wrapping on the shop floor. Some days I'm out doing press checks, making sure color looks good. I love that part of it because it's different every day. But yeah, it's just way different. Even coming to work is different. I mean, I was working from home when I was a designer. So even coming to the shop every day, there's been a lot of changes.
Yes, I can only imagine just the sheer volume of changes. And like we said earlier, change is not always a bad thing, but change is still difficult. It takes time to get adjusted. It takes time to get used to those changes. And now for you, you're a woman at the top in the
Mhm.
company. How has that been for you in terms of like you mentioned that you've worked with, your Chamber of Commerce, you've been partnered, your mentors have been women, but in manufacturing, that's not usually the case.
Mm-mm, it's not.
Has that been a difficult thing for you, or is it then something that you just moved forward and haven't looked back?
Yeah, I would say the move forward and haven't looked back. I honestly haven't felt any kind of struggles with that. I don't feel like I am viewed as being a woman in charge and that there's no respect there, or if someone doesn't agree with it, I don't know. I don't think that's the right word to use, but I think there's ways to even use it to your advantage sometimes. I think buying equipment, talking to banks, there's a lot of times where I think people aren't sure if I'm the decision maker. And sometimes you can use that to your advantage, just having an open conversation without them looking at you like, oh, you're the one that's going to sign the check. It can be a little bit different conversation. But I really haven't faced anything that I was just like, man, that really sucked. Just because I'm a woman, that's what happened.
Which is good. In some cases, I know women have had issues with
Hmm.
dealing with buying equipment, with trying to get loans and
Hmm.
other issues. Honestly, until about the 80s, women couldn't own businesses either. So, I
I
mean,
know.
which is so weird.
Well,
To that.
even getting business loans, I feel like, because I was doing some research on that, I feel like even that wasn't that long ago where you could own a business or get a business loan just because you're a woman. It's insane.
And that you look now, I mean,
Mhm.
you're owning a business. There's many, many other women that do.
Yeah.
But 20 years ago, that probably was, or 20, 30 years ago.
Mhm.
I always keep thinking the 80s are just 20 years ago, but
I know, right?
it's be different.
I mean, I have women who work for me that are out there doing all the equipment maintenance and running the machines just the same as everyone else. Like, I don't even see it that way. I think everyone is capable of learning to do anything.
Hmm.
Yeah, as long as you have the desire to do it.
And now for you too, you mentioned something, and I'm going to circle back to it. You moved from Florida, Michigan, moved your fiance, you're building a house. There's a lot of stuff that's happening outside of the
Mhm.
business. How do you manage any kind of work-life balance? Is that even
Yeah.
possible at this point?
Yeah, it is. It is possible. I mean, well, not only that, then we also got married in July. So I was planning a wedding, building a house. We went on our honeymoon for 2 weeks. Yeah. I don't know how I do it some days. Honestly, I think I just take it day by day. do stress out a lot, but I also can reel myself back in rather quickly and be like, why are you stressing about this? Like, it's not going to end the world. It's not going to change anything. It's going to be just fine. So there's a lot of talking myself down from freaking out. There's a solution to everything. Don't panic.
Easier said than done some days.
Yeah, totally. And honestly, I think once the house is done, it'll definitely help a lot because I won't have to be making all these other insane decisions on top of work decisions.
And you can be settled. So at least
Yes.
so that
Yeah,
at least your personal life is settled too, I think
definitely.
is
Yeah.
so
It
much
does
easier.
cause problems with just feeling like we don't quite have our homestead yet. So, and my husband now, but he's a Georgia boy, so moving him up here was like a whole nother thing. I was like, are you really sure you want to move to where there's a lot of snow? But we've done well. It's good.
That's good. And he's learned how to drive in snow.
He has, and he's great at snow blowing out the driveway and taking care of all that. I mean, he hates it because who doesn't, but he's good at it.
Even if you've grown up in snow, you still hate it every time you have to
I
do it.
know. I know. I think I say like once a day when I'm up here in the winter, I'm like, how did I survive this as a child? Like, I don't remember ever being this cold.
Maybe because we were running around really, really bundled and we were
I
more worried
guess.
about snowball fights and building snowmen.
Yeah, and snow days at school.
But it's just crazy in terms of trying to figure out that work-life balance. And sometimes it is just taking it one day at a time.
Yeah. And I think the other thing is I try not to bring work home with me. When I first took over the print shop, I was also keeping my design business going and I was doing both. And I was very stressed out because my attention needed to be with the print shop, but my days were spent designing still. And that was a lot. And I kind of stepped back from designing this past summer because with the wedding and everything, I was like, I just can't fit it in. Like I really physically can't do it and stay sane and be happy. So I did take a step back to focus on the print shop solely, which was really hard for me because that's who I am as a person for the past 25 years. It was a tough change, but I think it was the right choice to make. So I focusing on the print shop side of things and the sales and the marketing and doing all that.
And that's no saying that you can't go back to it at a later time.
Yeah.
But there's only
I think I did stretch my limits there with the work-life balance and staying here late at night working on design stuff because I had to do other stuff during the day. But I try not to let it stress me out too much if something has to wait till the next day. It's
I
just a
think you're better.
deadline-driven business.
It is. And I have to say, with certain things, you're a better person than me because that would definitely stress me out.
Yeah. I definitely get stressed out, but I also have a lot of hobbies and creative outlets that help me not stress about work. I focus on other things to take my mind off that.
Which is good. And that's something we all need, especially since I haven't figured out how to add more hours to my day.
Yeah, I know. If you figure that out, let me know.
I will. I'm also working on cloning. It's one of those
Right?
things because that would be awesome.
It would be. It would be great. I think that's one thing that's an interesting point. I don't know, maybe this will make me sound weird, but there's like the divide of the people who want the work-life balance and they're like, I'm done at 5, I'm going home. Everything can wait till the next day. It's fine. And then there's the people who are like, if you want to be successful, you got to grind and not take time off and work 12-hour days and do all these things. And I don't know. I don't think I could fight for that lifestyle. Not to me. I think you can be just as successful with making the time that you're at work productive and not have to stay there for 9 to 10 hours a day and put in that overtime.
I mean, I think about some of the companies in Europe, for instance, and they have very distinct times for when you work and when you're not at work. And it is very important for them to live their life. But again, like you said, to be productive when you're at work.
Yes, that's the key.
Yeah.
If you want to have that, you definitely have to have a plan for each day. You know, I'm a very big to-do list person. I feel like I sometimes make a to-do list for my to-do list. Many of them, I'm like, check this list today. But it helps you if you know what your plan is for that day to actually get through those tasks.
There's something very satisfying about crossing them off too when you get them done.
I know. Well, and also being a print shop, we like to print a lot of notepads here. So we make our own and we have our checklists.
Which are awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I just wish I was more consistent about actually writing my to-do list.
Yes.
I need to make my to-do list to be more consistent about making my to-do list.
Yeah, it is definitely important. I feel like if I don't write it down, I will forget to do it too, which is sad. But when I have 8 different employees coming at me with questions and I need to order this and I need to get this, if I don't write it down immediately, I will definitely forget.
Well, there's so many things that you're juggling. It's understandable to make sure that things go smoothly.
Mm-hmm.
Things, if you have to order the paper in order to get the jobs out, if you don't order the paper, what happens down the line,
Exactly. Well, we had that happen today. We had paper that we were expecting today that didn't show up, and you just got to roll with those punches, you make it work. But yeah, it's definitely challenging keeping track of everything.
And then as much planning as you do, like you said today, paper didn't show up. You have to figure out what you do, how you move forward when things don't happen according to the plan that you've set. When your delivery doesn't show up, you got to do something else at that point. And hopefully you can find your delivery.
Yeah, it's funny that you said that. The email about it just popped in on my screen when you said that.
That's good. So hopefully you'll be here tomorrow. And
yes.
Be perfect.
Well, actually, we get paper deliveries 3 days a week on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So we kind of plan our schedules around knowing that that's when we can expect paper. I mean, we keep a ton of house stock on the floor. This is just for specialty stuff.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So now, as we're wrapping up, you've had such a varied career, an interesting path to get where you are today. So if you were just starting in the print industry today, fresh-faced, what advice would you give yourself?
Stay where it's warm. I think that, we already touched on it a lot, but I think the biggest thing would be to ask for help. I think being independent is great, but yeah, I think that I would tell myself that ask questions, be curious, learn more, and don't panic. I feel like we tend to beat ourselves up over every little thing that doesn't go right. And I think I would tell my younger self to not worry about, don't sweat the small stuff. Don't worry about some of that things. It's going to work itself out, and trust your gut, because you usually know what the right answer is, that you should trust your gut and just do what you feel is right.
Really good advice.
And I love printing. Honestly, I'm such a dork.
No, you're not.
And I would tell myself that you still love printing, so you should still go down the career path that you chose.
It's led you here, and it hasn't really done you wrong.
No, it hasn't. It's been a fun and interesting journey, that's for sure.
Well, Emily, thank you so much for spending a little bit of time with me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us on this journey to celebrate and amplify the voices of women in the printing industry. If you have a story to share or know someone whose journey deserves to be highlighted, we'd love to hear from you. Together, let's continue inspiring and empowering the next generation of leaders. Until next time, keep leaving your imprint. This is Her Imprint. See you soon.